Today I thought about Felicette, the first and only AstroKitty sent into space by the French. I know it sounds like the perfect story, but let me explain. The space race was heating up, and by that I mean the US and the USSR were trying to one-up each other in what they can send up there. The ultimate goal was to send humans into space, but testing had to be done before that point. It all started with the US sending fruit flies into space using a V-2 rocket in 1947. This was the first complex organism sent into space. From that point on, both the US and the USSR were in a race to be the first to send a human into space. The US decided to use primates as they were the closest animal to human. The USSR, on the other hand, decided to use dogs because they were docile and easier to control. The French caught a case of FOMO and decided to participate. But they had to differentiate themselves from the US and the USSR. So they decided to use cats, an animal that is neither close to humans nor easy to control or docile. But before they moved on to cats, they decided to use rats because their physiology and neurology was already known. They chose 6 selectively bred rats and stuck electrodes in them. Then the rats were put through rigorous testing throughout a period of 30 weeks. One by one, each rat was eliminated until only one remained. A white rat named Hector. On February 22nd, 1961, Hector was launched aboard a Veronique AGI rocket. He safely re-entered the atmosphere after reaching the apogee of 110 kilometers and then parachuted to Earth. This made France the third nation to launch an animal into space and recover it alive. The French decided to repeat the experiment with another animal on which they had extensive neurological data, the common house cat. 14 female cats were purchased from a Paris pet dealer because female cats were thought to be more docile. They were given numbers instead of names so that the scientists working on them do not get emotionally attached. The potential Catstronauts were fitted with electrodes for monitoring and then climatized to the stress that they would encounter during the flight. In 1963, six were selected from the initial batch of 14 and transported to the launch site in Algeria. On 17th October, C-341, the calmest of the bunch, was selected for the flight. A tuxedo cat weighing 2.5 kgs, C-341 was fitted with a mic, EKG and other things to monitor the breathing and the heart rate. Finally, on 18th October 1963, C-341 was loaded in the nose cone of Veronique rocket number 47. At around 8 o'clock, the AstroKitty blasted off from the launch site in Algeria. The flight reached the apogee of 152 kilometers and lasted 13 minutes. During this time, C-341 experienced a peak acceleration of 9.6 Gs and 5 minutes of weightlessness. But the AstroKitty was absolutely fine and perfectly calm. She exhibited only minor changes to her breathing rate and heart rate. The nose cone re-entered the atmosphere and parachuted safely to the desert floor, where our AstroKitty was recovered by a helicopter. The until now nameless AstroKitty, C-341, was given the name Felix after the popular cartoon character. But once it became public that the AstroKitty was actually a girl, the name was changed to the female version of the same, Felicette. The French later did try to launch another kitty into space, but the flight crashed due to technical issues. If you want to look for a happy ending to this story, do not read any further. That's all about the one and only AstroKitty. If you like the video, or if you want to suggest more topics, or if you just want to say hi, do make sure to make use of the comment section. Do like, share and subscribe. That's all for today.